It's 1:11 p.m. October 23rd, 2017. This is the business meeting of the New York State Board of Parole. Welcome everyone, and welcome to members of the public who are joining us here in Albany today. I'd like to begin with the calling of the roll, and Commissioner Kringle, can you start us off, please?
Commissioner Kringle from Buffalo, New York.
Commissioner Thompson, present.
Commissioner W. William Smith, present.
Commissioner Agostini, present.
Kathy Kiley, Council to the Board, present.
Tina Stanford, Chairwoman, present.
Commissioner Eric Berliner, present.
Commissioner Otis Cruz, present.
Commissioner Carol Shapiro, present.
And Commissioner Davis, present.
And also with us from the Board of Parole, please identify yourself for the record.
Lorraine Morris, Administrative Assistant.
And with the department, so we have some department staff as well.
Rachel Heath, Public Information Office.
And our board name is
Laura Calucci.
Thank you, Ms. Calucci. Welcome everyone again. Has everyone had an opportunity to receive the business meeting minutes from our last business meeting of September 25, 2017? I'll be happy to receive a motion. I did have a question when I was reviewing this, and maybe you can help us with this, Ms. Calucci. Mr. Wyatt's last name, do you know how to spell it?
W-I-A-N.
Just W-I-A-N?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so that's right. I just wanted to make sure that was spelled right. I didn't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything else that they think needs to be amended, corrected, or otherwise changed in these minutes? And if not, may I have a motion to that respect? A motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor to accept the minutes as presented, and it's been duly seconded, made by Commissioner Thompson, second by Commissioner Shapiro. Are there any questions or further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions due to absence?
One abstention.
Myself, Kringle.
2 abstentions. Thank you. That motion is carried. With respect to old business, I trust most of us have had an opportunity to interact with the new video equipment that's been deployed, and hopefully you're finding it an improvement upon the old equipment. If you have any questions, need any additional training, let us know in central office. In terms of old business, I don't have any old business that I want to refer to at this meeting. Does anyone else have any items of old business they wish to discuss? So we will move on then to new business. I want to let you know that we are in our budget making season. I've had internal meetings with the acting commissioner for the department and Deputy Commissioner Marticello. Have another meeting this afternoon, in fact, with the Division of Budget and members of executive staff to discuss the Department of Corrections budget, which of course includes the Board of Parole. If any of you have any ideas in terms of how we might be better stewards of the state's funds as it passes through our budget, and as we have control over matters that may be fiscally relevant, please send me those ideas via email. I would be much appreciated. Of course, we have been long doing our part to try to keep overtime costs down, and in that respect, probably for at least the last year, we have asked everyone to do their level best not to go past 6:30 in the evenings. I must insist that we hold that line very firmly. It does seem, and it could be in part because there are new members among us, that we are keeping to our accreditation standard of approximately 20 minutes, at least per interview. And so that averages to about 3 an hour. And a normal work day, we could get done approximately 20, 21 cases. If you find that your boards and your caseload is so high, the new normal may be that we have 3-day boards. So please make every effort to be responsible in that regard. Those of you who are leading panels and you are given the duty of scheduling, please schedule your panels with that in mind, that if you can't get through the number that we complete the board in 1 day or 2 days, that you will go into the 3rd day. The costs upon the facilities are a serious factor, and we must do our part to assist them in that. I also want to personally thank and publicly thank Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Kringle for your very diligent and comprehensive work in trying to figure out a way to better balance 2 of our facilities interviews. And I hope you're both pleased to know that your hard work was not unnoticed. The department had no issues at all with changing the schedule to make it so that we would switch the days when Lakeview and Orleans would meet with the board. And we do anticipate it's going to be a benefit for all of us, again, to keep overtime down, to make our panels more balanced in terms of the case number. And to that end, I'd like to create a work group to continue to look at that, issues like that, to try to determine if there are some other facilities that we might balance or rebalance. I'm happy to take volunteers to be on that work group. Certainly, I'd love to see the 2 of you do it again, because you did such a fine job analyzing the data and the numbers with these facilities. But if there's any others interested in joining a work group to look at, how we might be more efficient and better manage our time and look at the present schedule of facilities, which weeks they fall on, and see if maybe we could do things a little differently. I truly appreciate that. So I see Commissioner Agostini is interested. Can I count on Commissioners Kringle and Smith again to work on this effort with me?
Sure. I must state, though, that Joe Kringle really is the pusher and getting the changes. He did an awful lot of work, and it just kind of came to me to bounce it off. So, but as far as the working group, I have some things that have been set up in terms of long time that might be of assistance. So I'll be glad to help.
Thank you. And if Commissioner Berlin and Commissioner Cruz are also indicating an interest. So if anyone else wants to join this effort, we'll probably do conference calls, things of that nature, so that we can all be on one accord, maybe even video conferencing. Okay? So thank you for that. So that is what I wanted to share with you all in terms of new business having to do with our budget. Please come in. Okay. Now, I think you all should have received, and I sent out to everyone, a memorandum that I got from Commissioner Nucci with regard to birth certificates. The department is making a sincere effort to get birth certificates in addition to Social Security cards and other documents that are critical to successful reentry to the community, to the men and women leaving the facilities and going on supervision in the community. And they've asked that we encourage people, ask the question during the interviews, do you have your birth certificate? As we're considering whether or not it's appropriate to release them at this time, whether or not we make that decision upon the completion of the interview and deliberation, these documents are things that they need. And so during the course of your questions, review the memorandum, of course, but also I wanted to reiterate and emphasize at our meeting today that we should all be asking about those critical documents of the people that we meet with. Ask them if they have that document. Encourage them to work with the department to get those documents so that they have them in hand upon their release. It really will make their transition back to the community so much easier. And I assured the commissioner that we would cooperate any way that we could. So I emphasize that to your attention. Please review the memorandum. If you need a copy of it, we'll make it available to you, again, from central office. And just so you know, we're going to begin that new board schedule with Orleans as part of week 1 and Lakeview as part of week 2 for the boards in December of 2017. And then if we have other ideas, we might be able to roll those out before the beginning of the year. And so we're also working very closely with the department on a number of other ideas that we've discussed over the last few years, if not months. One of them was changing the order of appearance. So we would bring those most urgent cases to our attention first in our panel of interviews. The parole immediately eligible, maybe those that have security concerns, maybe those for whom we're doing interpreting services, and we've got a set time for those. But to reverse the order so that instead of seeing the initials first, we would see the reacts first. I think that's a good idea for many reasons, not the least of which is those are the most demanding cases. Those are the cases sometimes with the most information and documentation. And those are the cases, too, who are presumably beyond their earliest parole eligibility. So I thought if we could get to those sooner in the calendar, then if you did run up against time constraints or anything like that necessitating or some other issues that sometimes more often confront initial applicants, that those cases are more suitable for postponement because they are not yet at their parole eligibility date. So that's something that we're working with the department on, just to let you know that we're really trying to be as creative as we can be and sensitive to the concerns of the men and women in seeking their release and good, again, management of the time that we have with them to conduct our interviews. We know that you're continuing to submit your post-board reports. I thank you for that. I want to, again, assure you that they are given great attention at the highest levels within program services. And those are also fueling the good and meaningful discussion that Kathy and I and many others that come with us have at what we call the Bridge the Gap meetings, where we really try to understand if there are any concerns, any issues, where we could be working better together with our department colleagues. So your comments are very important. The things that you're noticing are very important, and they are being paid attention to. I also wanted to note to your attention that the official letters, the request for comment from officials that's sent by the facilities, that's also going through a bit of transition. At some point, those will be centrally sent, but to the extent that that automated process has not yet taken place, each of the facilities is being asked to review the letter that they presently send to the judge, the DA, and defense attorney of the person to make sure that that letter says that they need to respond within 30 days. Of course, that's the time we give them. Say someone is parole immediately eligible and they come to us within that first 30 or so days, and the facility has not yet sent the letter, or they've just sent the letter, we give those officials the benefit of at least 30 days to respond. And then we can see the person and proceed knowing that we're abiding by all the factors in the law. Well, we want to make sure that everyone is getting letters that give them that time period to respond. Because what we're finding is sometimes the officials wait until the month they think the person is going to be seen and then send a letter. And then, frankly, it could be too late because it could come right up against the date that they're seeing some of us. So we really need you to look at those letters. Just as much as you're looking to see if they've responded, look and see if the letter that was sent says you've got 30 days to respond. And if you find, because you may be able to identify for yourselves instances where we could still get a letter. So, you know, I know it's one extra thing to do, but we want to make sure that we're not getting letters that are intended for our review coming in a day or two after we've actually interviewed the person, because then there's the possibility of rescission, and certainly none of us want that. So just know that those letters that go out really should be giving a deadline of 30 days. I wouldn't say that that's a reason to postpone a case, but you might find an instance when, you know, just like anything else, if the letter has not been sent, that's a legitimate postponement. If the letter was just recently sent, that may be also a legitimate postponement. Okay? Air travel. I know that we are in the process with Ms. Villa is helping us now to make sure that everybody who's new has a profile, a travel profile, so that if you are requesting air travel or you need travel agent services, you have a profile in place so that you can make reservations. Please let me know if you have any questions about what information I need. If you are requesting air travel, generally I need to know the date you're leaving, the date you expect to be returning, whether or not you're going to be using a rental car or taxi, because these are the figures that I plug into the formula that we determine whether or not it's more cost effective to fly rather than to drive. Of course, those of you who prefer to take trains, that's always an acceptable mode of transportation as well. And we're hopeful that now that you're getting, we hope to be able to get you your schedules sooner. You should be able to book far enough out so that it tends to be cost effective if necessary to fly. Okay. We will hand out to you today the schedules for the next couple of months, but you'll also be getting an updated vacation schedule that goes into 2018. Please review it and make sure that anything that you've requested is on there. You're also going to be getting our schedule for 2018, showing the board meetings, the board weeks, the legal holidays as well. And I would note to your attention that next week is one of those weeks, I believe, where day one of the board is the end of the month and day two of the board is the first of the next month. This is a reminder to all of you and maybe a lesson to the new people. If you're seeing someone on day one, which is the end of October, and for whatever reason after deliberating you decide to do a 24-month hold, you can hold no later than October of 2019. If you're seeing someone on November 1st, however, then they get the benefit of November 2019. It's just a fluke that comes up with a couple of boards a year where, you know, the board literally straddles the end of one month and the beginning of the other. But we can hold for no more than 24 months. So even though the people you see on the 31st are technically part of the November board, they still have to have the benefit of being held no more than 24 months, which would bring them to October of 2019. If you have any questions about that, consult with counsel's office or with Lorraine or Lucille. Also, we did join APAI last year, and we did that as a group. We each contributed our own individual funds to join in our membership, as all annual memberships do, has expired. I don't know if it was useful to you to have that group membership, but I'm willing to talk about this with you offline to decide whether or not we want to renew our membership as a group. I'll send out information for next month's meeting. If we decide to do it, I'll let you know what the cost would be to us individually, because our professional memberships are our own at our own cost. You may remember that last month, Commissioner Demosthenes discussed Sunshine Fund, so you're welcome to start making contributions with this month's meeting if you wish, and govern yourselves accordingly with respect to that. Does anyone else have any other items of new business they wish to discuss? At this point, then, we will go into correspondence, announcements, and invitations. I don't have any correspondence to share with you this month. I don't have any invitations to share with you this month, but I would like to formally announce that the last of our board members did not get an opportunity to introduce herself to you and to the public last month, and so we want to give her that opportunity this month, because she, like all of you, comes with a wealth of experience and helps to make this group as great as I think it is. So please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you.
Something about you.
Since I've met and worked with many of you already, this will be the Cliff Note version. I do want to say it's really been a privilege to be working with you, and I'm learning so much from each of you, so I just want to thank you for that. This is quite a diversion from my background. I did go to my first jail at 16 because I had a teacher who talked about the disparity of bail, and I pretty much never left. My first job was at Lorton Prison, which was the DC prison, in 1978, where I started the first pre-release program. And I've spent most of my life developing alternatives to incarceration. I also happen to have a personal story, like many of us. My mother was hit by a drunk driver when I was 5 years old, so I've also worked in victim services, and I think most importantly, I had the opportunity, like Eric, to work at Rikers Island under Mayor Dinkins. So this was 1992, when the jails had the highest population they ever had, 26,000 people on any given day. And it's where I was responsible for all programmings, population management, you name it, I probably did it. I had the first Alternatives to Incarceration conference there, funded by the Edna McConnell Clark Foundation. But most importantly, it was the springboard for starting a nonprofit, which to shift the analysis of our justice system from an individual to social networks and community. And La Bodega de la Familia was born out of that, in partnership a lot with New York State Parole, but also probation and the police department in New York City. It then became a national organization. I incubated at the Vera Institute of Justice. I'm speaking fast. I don't want to take up too much time. I incubated it at the Vera Institute of Justice, and it was formally evaluated, funded by the Justice Department, Robert Wood Johnson, and other health-related foundations, with the purpose of shifting our belief that a lot of people in our justice system are there for health-related needs, mental illness, addiction, things we see every day. And so because it was formally evaluated, it was considered evidence-based, and we took the work around the country and elsewhere in the world. I closed the nonprofit by intent because I thought after 15 years, I wanted to put it in the water supply and let other places develop and use it as that would fit them. I mean, we did work with indigenous communities. It was not specific to a particular kind of community, but rather the values. We developed tools that were strength-based as opposed to deficit-based. And so that's probably the work that I'm proudest of. And here I am today. So I also have been I was at Rutgers University, but I also was at Columbia University, where I focused on scaling innovation and I developed my own graduate seminar called Rethinking Justice. So that's what I've done, and again, I'm bringing, like everyone else here, lots of different kinds of experience, and most importantly, I think, passion. I have lived for this my entire life and continue to, so that's me.
Thank you so much and welcome. I want to thank all of you for donning purple today in acknowledgement of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So thank you for wearing your purple and for bringing attention to this issue, which cuts across all areas of our work as well as our society. So thank you again. Hopefully we can get a nice little picture before we disband to commemorate the moment. With that then, I would be happy to entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters made confidential by federal or state law, specifically some litigation with our counsel, as well as medical information having to do with someone in the care of the department presently, whose information we need to review together. And at the conclusion of that executive session, adjourn our meeting. Do I have such a motion? So moved by Commissioner Agostini. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Berliner. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. We are in executive session. Thank you.